Hi guys, and welcome to Young Viola's improvisation session, episode 2. My name is Ali, and together with Lucy I help run the Young Violas program at the Royal Northern College of Music. And today we're going to be focusing on, well, a variety of things, including playing in the Dorian mode, more about modes later, and also a little focus on pizzicato. Before we get started, however, I need you to make sure that you have your viola somewhere handy. You will also need something to play the track off, so preferably some kind of speaker, or if you could possibly use some headphones. Just make sure the wires are not getting too tangled up, so you can play as well as have headphones in. And of course you'll need all of the tracks and the materials, which should be provided from the Young Violas pack, which will be coming through to your inboxes at some point. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I have the practice mute on again, so my sound might sound a bit strange to start with, but it's just so that you can hear what I'm doing on the viola, what I'm saying to you, and also the track with a reasonable amount of balance between the three things. So we're going to start just tuning the viola, of course, to make sure we're in tune. So first, let's start with an open D today, seeing as the track that we're playing in the background is called D Dorian. So here's the open D. So it's sounding nice and in tune today. I had a little warm-up before this. But let's just make sure when we're warming up together that we're using nice, long, whole bows. Remembering to stand with feet shoulder width apart. That's good. Feeling nice and relaxed in the shoulders. Shoulders down. Once you're happy with your D, let's go to A. G. Good. Remember, only use your pegs if you are qualified to do so. If not, use your fine tuners down here. C. Great. Okay. So, I was talking about the Dorian mode earlier. The Dorian mode is the second of the 7 modes that we have in music, at least the 7 main modes we have in music. Think of a C major scale first. So we just go from C to C. I'll just play on just quickly. So that was just C major 1 octave, nice and simple. You can try that too, it works with the track quite nicely. And basically C major is, starting on a C at least, is the Ionian mode, which means that we're starting on a C and we're finishing on a C. Now the Dorian mode is starting on a D and going up to a D and then back. However, the really important factor is that we are staying in the key of C major. So I'm just going to play 1 octave of D Dorian. So, I don't know if you felt the same as me there, but that sounds a lot more anchored in this track that I have in the background. And that's because the track is already in D Dorian, and I'm fitting with that too. However, both C major and D Dorian, they have exactly the same notes in them. They're just starting at different points, and both of them work. So how about we just try first together improvising on the 2 octave scale of C major, and then we'll move on to the 2 octave scale of D Dorian. In other terms, what we're actually doing is starting on the open C, then going all the way up the viola, up to 3rd finger on A, to this D here. Okay, so that's the range of notes. I'm just going to play them all actually, just so we get a sense, a little bit faster. Okay, so how about we both have a go now at just improvising, just using those pitches only. Okay, so I quite like to think of the Dorian mode in general as, I mean, it does sound like a minor key to me, but because we have that B natural, it's almost like it's like a major minor type thing. We've got a little bit of major, a little bit of minor, or you could call it a bright minor key. But anyway, the basic thing behind it is that we're playing in C major, starting on a D, ending on a D. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the next part, which is pizzicato, mostly because actually, I don't know if you can hear in the track, there's quite a lot of pizzicato, and it's just me, again, multi-tracking myself, just playing lots of different types of pizzicato. It works quite well in this key, so yeah, it was really enjoyable to play, and I thought maybe we could have a little discussion about pizzicato and maybe do some improvisation in pizzicato. So we're going to just try, firstly, just plucking them same notes that we just did earlier, again from the open C up to the third finger D on the A string, and we're going to just use the index finger, which is this finger here, if anyone has any doubts. Okay, there's also a diagram in the Young Violas pack. Okay, so let's just try it. Maybe I'll just join in with the track actually. Yeah, so again, it's just in the Violas pack, but if you want to see a piece which focuses on pizzicato, it's totally different to this, but equally interesting, it's a piece called 9 Fingers by one of my teachers, Garth Knox. So check it out in the description, it's really, really cool, it's absolutely crazy, and I totally love it. Right, so we're going to try using other fingers now. So we were just using the index finger, but of course we do have quite a lot of fingers we can use for pizzicato. And I want you to just try and notice if there's any difference between one finger and the next. So we're just going to try and pick an open D, still using the index finger, and now let's go to the middle finger. Maybe alternate between the two. Yeah, quite similar really. Ring finger, a little bit more difficult. The trickiest, little finger. Quite hard to control. Try and just get that open D. No, I missed there. And finally, in the right hand at least, we have the thumb. And because the thumb is the biggest finger, we have the most flesh to play with. And actually, you probably can't tell based on the sound of this video, but under my ear it sounds a bit softer with us articulation. And perhaps the little finger sounds a bit harder, so we've got a little bit of variety in articulation, even between just doing exactly the same thing using different fingers, which is really cool if you ask me. Plucking with the left hand is a little bit more difficult, but possible. Plucking with the left thumb is basically impossible because we need to hold the viola, so I wouldn't recommend trying that. So let's just try now improvising only using pizzicato. All the different finger options. Dorian mode. I was actually using a couple of combinations of fingers there in order to get things a bit faster, which you can definitely try. I recommend if you're going to do super fast pizzicato, I would go between index finger and middle finger. It's quite hard to control, but if you practice it, you'll get there. So we're going to move on now to pizzicato chords. This is where we are playing more than one note at the same time. And you can either play them simultaneously, or you can play them in an arpeggiated form, which is basically one after the other. So I'm just going to go through the notation that you have on your notes there. Before that though, we're just going to play the open D and the open A together. Again, it fits quite nice with the track. So simultaneously, trying to get one sound. Maybe using two fingers, one on each string. Now arpeggiated. So it's a little bit different because it's moving, the notes aren't sounding at the same time. Okay, let's try the notation. So starting on open C and open G. And now we're putting your finger down. So just to recap what we're doing there. We're doing, here we go, open C, first finger C, still plucking the open G, second finger C and open G, third finger C, open G, and now open G, open D, first finger G, second, open string D, sorry, second finger G, third finger G, now moving over to the open D, first finger D, second finger, same idea in the next little section, but we're just putting our fingers down on the higher string rather than the lower string. Okay, so lots of nice chords here, fitting quite nicely with the track, you'll find. Doesn't matter where you are in the track, you might be at the same part as me, you might be somewhere different, that doesn't matter at all. Okay, top one is the D octave. Okay, and of course 3 or 4 note chords are a little bit more difficult, but definitely possible. Everyone can do this one. It's just playing through all of the open strings in a nice arpeggio. So we do this, starting on the C, rolling through to the A, and it works quite nicely again with the track. Okay, but it's really up to you at this point. You can try putting down one finger, you can try putting down 2 fingers, try putting down 3 fingers, or even 4 fingers, to try and get these extra notes, and extra chords. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Okay, here comes some new chords. All sorts of different things to do there. I did a little bit of left-hand pizzicato there. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. Okay, so to finish, we're just going to do a totally free improvisation. So you can either use your bow, or you can put the bow down for a bit, or you can do a combination of both. You can do pizzicato while holding the bow. That's also possible, of course. I'm sure you've all done that before. Absolutely, there's no right or wrong with all of this improvisation. I would recommend staying inside the D Dorian mode. So basically all the notes of C major. As you might find that some of the other notes might sound a bit funky, but of course, if you watched last episode, we're talking about blue notes, which are the notes that don't fit so well, and some of them might sound quite cool at particular times in this track. So I'm going to leave you just with a bit of a free improvisation. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. Yeah? Here we go. Sorry, before I actually start playing, I just want to say thanks so much for your support in watching this. I really hope you're finding it useful, and if you've got any feedback on these sessions, I'd love to hear it. So please get in touch with the relevant people Okay, thanks very much, and see you next episode. See you soon.